Ricky Smiley, thank you so much for joining me today. It is such a pleasure to be able to finally talk to you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing is the question.
I'm good. I'm good. Excited.
Yes, I'm excited for you as well. Now, I was sitting here and as I was preparing for our conversation, I was like, should I be like, welcome back, Ricky? But it's like, you never left. But as far as that stand up comedy stage, I am excited to tell you welcome back. It's been what, 13, almost 14 years?
Yeah, since I did a special, yeah. But I never
Yeah.
I never stopped performing. I just never did another special. The last one I did was on BET Open Casket Sharp. It was
Mhm.
it was great. And so it's like, how do you come behind that? you
Yes.
know. So I'm excited.
So Foolish. Foolish is slated to premiere on Hulu on May 30th. First, talk to me about the name Foolish. Why did you decide to name this special Foolish?
Well, I always come on stage to shout it low, foolish.
Okay.
So whenever I perform nationally or whatever, and so you think about Blackish, that TV show,
Mhm.
and it really fits the material. It fits, who I am on the radio. Just foolish, just foolish. That's what my lady used to produce my morning show, Kim. She said, you are so foolish. So, and I just thought it was perfect. So, I like that title.
So you filmed this at the Lyric Theater in your
Yeah.
hometown of Birmingham, Alabama. Talk to me about what it felt like to make this stand-up special comeback in your hometown with your people.
Oh yeah. It was performing in Birmingham is always because I do karaoke all the time at the
Mhm.
comedy club Stardome. But performing in my hometown is just always and it's crazy because the Lyric Theater, I used to work in a clothing store two doors down. And I remember being in that clothing store writing jokes, but never would have thought how everything came around in full circle. And two doors down, I would be shooting a comedy special
How
uh,
about that?
35 years later. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's something. But performing at home, you get the hometown advantage, but it adds more pressure because you perform at home, so you better be funny.
Mhm.
Cause
Mhm.
Pookie gonna tell your auntie that you weren't funny. Everybody in Birmingham know everybody. Somebody gonna tell your auntie, your mama, your great aunt or whatever, whether you was good or not. So
Nah, down to the church, Ricky, when they do their testimony, they gonna say, giving the honor to God. You know, Ricky wasn't really that funny
right,
last week down to the Lyric
right,
Theater.
right, right.
Yes, yeah, you got to deal with your hometown folks.
Yeah, so dealing with the home folks, you better be funny. You got your mom there, your uncle there. You got the guy that gave you your start, Bruce Ayers, sitting in the audience. You got the Brat sitting in the audience. You got,
Mhm.
yeah, you better come with it.
Absolutely. Now, it's funny that you say that because I was planning to talk to you about this a little later, but I think now is the perfect time.
Yeah.
You know, you were talking about like how you have to be funny when you are at home in front of your
Mhm.
people. And I think a lot of people don't realize, and I'm kind of talking to myself in this, a lot of people don't realize there is a huge difference between being funny and being a stand-up comedian and being a comedian. Because you could be funny, your mama and your aunties and them can think you funny at Thanksgiving, but it's different when you have to put together material, work that material, and present it to an audience. Do you have any advice for any person who is considering being a comedian?
Yeah, the thing about it is you have to have the calling for it because probably 8 out of 10 people is actually funny, but
Mhm.
everybody are not performers. Everybody can't make that transition to take that funny to the stage and make strangers laugh, and memorize an hour worth of material and keep the audience going, keep them moving like boom, 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 boom. Going from subject to subject, joke to joke, story to
Mhm.
story. It takes a lot of work, a lot of commitment, a lot of dedication and years. I feel like I'm funnier now than I was when I was in my 20s and 30s because life has been, I've lived a lot of life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when you get older, you're just more comfortable. You're not worried about what people think. You just say what you want to say. And if the audience laugh, you just roll with it, you know. You don't overthink, you relax, you have the experience, you have the stage time. And then I don't know if I answered your question.
You did. You answered. You did.
Yeah,
You answered the question.
I get to skipping all over the place.
Listen, that is fine. That's what a conversation is, Ricky.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I wanted to just kind of piggyback off of that and share with you a quick little story time. So many, many moons ago in Atlanta, they used to have like, I guess, karaoke, open mic night, whatever. And one of my girlfriends and I went, and she thinks I'm the funniest person on the planet.
Yeah.
She's like, girl, you got to get up there and do some stand up. And I was like, nah. She was like, go ahead, girl. You know how your friends can gas you up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I got on that stage. Wanda Smith was hosting. You remember when she used to host? I think it was Wednesday night. You know what I'm talking about?
Over there by Wesley Chapel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ricky, I took my tail over there. I got up on that stage. I don't even remember what I tried to say, but all I heard was boo. And Ricky was booing me with a whole chest. Booing.
Yeah.
So
you better be glad you wasn't at Club 559.
Oh, no. I knew better than that. I knew better than that. I
didn't want to go on stage at 559. They rattle the car keys at you.
No, I knew better than that. I got up there and I immediately, when I heard the first boo, I went into Apollo mode because they don't boo you when you sing gospel stuff. So I was like, well, I can sing a little bit. So I start trying to sing, Ricky.
Yeah.
Well, next thing I know, Wanda Smith came up there and snatched that microphone.
Ooh.
And she said, what the hell is you up here? Ricky, that woman roasted me so bad. It was so good. In hindsight, it was so good. But in the moment, it was so bad.
Yeah. We have all had those nights on stage, including me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes, you know, sometimes it's always better to start out with a small audience.
Yeah.
You know, to catch your rhythm. And once you get your rhythm, then you're ready for something like that. A night where it's going to be packed and music and, you know, so you have to kind of come with it because it was a high bar. The bar is set high. So
it is. It really is. My question to you is, while preparing for this particular stand-up special, did you have any apprehensions, or while working your material, did you have any concern? We now live in 2025 where everything has to be politically correct and everyone is super sensitive. And you know, some of your classic characters may rub people a little bit the wrong way in the 2025. If you know what I mean.
Hell no. Yeah, I'm not for everybody, and it is what it is. You know, if you want to make everybody happy, sell ice cream.
Yeah, and listen, I'm ice cream conversations, and that don't even always work. Okay?
Right. Yeah, somebody gonna always be mad, or somebody gonna always not like something, or take what you said out of context and stuff like that. You just have to. If you get to thinking about that, you won't have an act. You won't be able to say nothing on the radio or whatever. I don't care about cancel culture or whatever, and people that go along with that kind of stuff. I got a strong fan base that like me, and they like me because I'm me. Yes. And they want to laugh. They want to have a good time. So I just play to my audience. I don't play for the weirdos that just don't like nothing, that got a problem with everything. I just kind of let those people be.
Absolutely.
And I don't go back and forth with them online. I just let them. I don't even read the comments, because that's why they put the blinders on the horse in the parade. So
that's right.
They focus what's ahead of you, because all of this barking and stuff on the side, that's crazy work. You'll go crazy trying to respond to everything and make people happy that don't even really support you anyway. That don't come out to the comedy club anyway to see you perform. Because everybody got an opinion about this, that. You have to just do you.
Absolutely. So speaking of your iconic characters, some of my personal favorites, Precious and her grandma, because I was raised by my great grandma, so that hit a little different. Now I'm not like
Yeah.
Precious, but I remember my grandma saying, "Get your,
Get your get your I'm gonna knock your ass. You gonna sit so back and tell your mama all that stuff. Oh yeah, you know what it is.
Absolutely." And I know about getting pinched in church when you get
Oh
the
yeah.
what? See, everybody don't have that experience or understand that experience, Ricky, but I do know that. And all of my grandmother's friends was Miss Bernice Jenkins.
Uh-huh.
And then, at family functions, we had a few little Daryls at the family function.
Always.
Which character, if you can choose, which one is your personal favorite?
I like doing. Let me see. I got a MCT bag. We Miss Robert is my favorite.
Man, listen, I met this girl the other day. I said, "What's your name?" Hit it, Ricky.
What's your name? Boy, when I tell you, and you probably never seen it. I'm coming out with this as far. I'm gonna reintroduce Joe Willie in the Deuteronomaires.
Oh,
I have a gospel. I have a gospel quartet where I dress up like an old man in a fat suit, and I sing with men that's really old that actually sing for real. A gospel quartet. That's the funniest thing that I do now. That never took off.
yeah.
That's my favorite. Joe Willie in the Deuteronomaires.
And the Deuteronomaires. Now, was that inspired by Deuteronomy?
Yeah, it's five in the group: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. So it's the Deuteronomaires. Hey, now that's funny. You wait till Joe Willie and the Deuteronomaires get back together, and we would go on tour. We would do mega churches. It would be packed.
Really?
And I would come out and lead these songs that we wrote that sound like gospel quartet songs. And I stayed in character the whole time. It was absolutely hilarious.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait to see more of that.
Yeah, we will be bringing back Joe Willie in the Deuteronomy.
And the Deuteronomaires.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want to circle back to Fooli-sh, your stand-up comedy special, because I failed to mention that you are working with my favorite dynamic duo power couple, Lynn and David E. Talbert.
Oh yeah. That's like my brother and my sister. I love them. I love their son. I'm really close to them. They put me in some movies. Dave and I, Lynn, we on social media and are in group text, like every day laughing at something. So one day we was, you ain't gonna believe this. We was in the Bahamas swimming with bull sharks.
Okay.
Like we was in the Atlantic Ocean swimming with sharks. Dave came up out of the water and said, "Hey man, you need to do another special. You haven't done one in years." I said, "What?" He said, "You need to do a comedy special." He said, I feel like you done stuff, but you haven't been presented the right way.
Okay.
And coming from a director and a producer, I was like, "Okay, what does that look like?" He said, "Yeah, we're gonna make that happen." And we made it happen.
Wow.
And I remember it plain as day, like we literally was in a and let me say this. We was in a cage. In a cage.
And y'all just come up out the water. Hey, you need to do another comedy special.
Now the bull sharks was swimming by the cage. So we got in a cage and they was throwing tuna and blood in the water to get the sharks to come. And 600 some pound bull sharks was coming. It was something like on the Discovery Channel. And they were swimming by the cage and we was underwater looking at each other. We stuck our hands out the cage and we was touching them as they go by because they don't have the reaction like a pit bull. Stick your hand in a pit bull, turn around, bite you real quick. But a bull shark
just smooth with it.
Smooth, and they feel like sandpaper, believe it or not. They look real slick and like feeling these big animals, man. That was crazy. And we saw 2 whales on the way to the Bahamas, So I'm a boat captain, so I drive over to the Bahamas. So we went across the ocean, and I saw whales, and we got real close and turned the engines off and just sat there and had a moment and enjoyed it. Like, and so that's where all of those ideas came. We had came up with an idea for a movie about going to the Bahamas, like a thriller.
Yeah.
But this was the easiest thing to do, was to shoot a comedy special. But we had came up with several ideas that weekend.
I'm looking forward to seeing some of these other ideas come to fruition.
Oh yeah,
So speaking of,
we're gonna do a thriller about going to the Bahamas, and it's gonna be me and probably all little people, and they're gonna all get ate.
I was just getting ready to ask for a role, and you said all the little people.
You got to be 4 foot and under. And
Well, can I be the person to put the wristbands on y'all?
yeah, you could be that. You could be that person on the boat.
Okay.
But it's and we're gonna call it Baby Shark.
What is wrong with you? Something wrong with you, Ricky.
Yeah, something wrong with me for real, because but that would be a great. You would go see it.
Yes. I would check it out. Yes, that is funny. That is really funny. So while doing my research preparing for this interview, I did find out some extra things about you, because I have been a fan of yours for years and years and years, right? As far back as I can remember. But I learned, in addition to you being a boating captain, that you fly planes.
Yeah, like it ain't nothing. It's easier than driving a car. And I wish more young black men would go get their pilot license, and because they are really like. And I just wish more of our kids would go to consider Florida Memorial University in Miami, because man, they have a flight school, and they now have one at Tuskegee. You know, Chappie James was a world famous pilot in, I think, World War II, I think, or whatever. I know the gym is named after him, the Chappie James building. But Florida Memorial, they have access. They have a great aviation program, and now Tuskegee does. But flying a plane is easier than the hardest thing is to learn how to communicate with the control tower. But the physical part of flying a plane is absolutely nothing, and you have to have a stomach for it, because turbulence and gusts of wind, and you thinking you have to have a stomach for it or whatever. But I started flying planes when I was working at the radio station in Birmingham, because I was like, how do y'all know where the traffic is backed up at? Because the guys would come on and do traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, yeah, we're in a plane. I said, what? They said, yeah, come on out. We go out, one for the morning. We do the morning shows, and then we do another one in the evening. So I went one evening. He said, okay, I'm going to let you fly the plane. I said, are you serious? He said, yeah, it's easy, man. It's easy, dude. Don't worry about it, dude. He said, hey, man, just get right there. Put your foot right there on the rudders. That's the pedal that drive the rudders drive the plane on the ground or whatever. And just make sure you take on your yoke, and here's your throttle right here and your flaps or whatever. Man, once I learned like those 4 things, and he said, all right, go ahead and give it some power. Just push your throttle forward to give it power, come off the brakes, and you can feel the plane getting light, and then you pull your yoke. Next thing you know, you're up in the air, and he'll tell you what to do at that point. He's talking to the control tower. He'll tell me what to do. And man, I was like, because I was obsessed with airplanes, because my grandparents would take me to the airport, and we would sit on the side of the runway behind the fence and watch planes take off and land. So it was a dream to be able to fly a plane. So
it's the bravery for me, Ricky, because
And I tell you what, it's probably the safest way to travel. But being on a boat, now that looked easy, but man, when a storm comes and you start getting swells. One time I was coming back from the Bahamas, and we started getting swells, man. I had to reach over in the thing. I had to put on a life jacket. I had to get all my emergency stuff. And but I had to press through that storm though. And it was a rough, choppy ride. Couldn't see in front of you. Look behind you, you could see the ocean. Then you look behind you again, you can see a wall of water. And making sure that you're going at the right speed, people throwing up or whatever, all of this stuff. You just have to have the stomach for it.
Oh my gosh. And I don't, because just listening to you, my anxiety is going up. I'm like sitting over here rubbing my hands together, like, oh
Yeah,
Lord.
I love some adventure, and I'm a roller coaster freak.
You
I'm
are,
a
so you're an adrenaline junkie.
probably I would. It just depends on what it is. Now I can't ride the ride straight up and down. The ones
Okay.
that take you up
Okay.
and just drop you,
Hmm.
man. But you put me on any roller coaster in Tampa, between Tampa and Orlando, I handle it.
Wow. So in addition to being a boat captain, a pilot, you are also a gourmet chef.
Oh, I love to cook. Oh, I
Now, what's your
love.
signature dish? What's the dish that you know, like when I bust this thing out, all you're gonna hear
Yeah,
is smacking and chewing?
I get the request for the chicken and dumplings. That's everybody's
Mm,
favorite. And I get the request for my the macaroni and cheese, the greens. I make a really good dressing. I do a lot of soul food, a lot of comfort food. Just like today, I'm gonna start making my dressing, getting prepared for Easter because I always do. I do an Easter dinner every year, so that's your macaroni and cheese, your greens, your dressing. I do a ham. I do a turkey. I got a nice ham glaze. Do the turkey or whatever. And I'm one of those type of people. I don't let people bring nothing. Like I like to just cook everything, keep it simple.
okay.
Cause
Yeah.
all that aluminum foil and pans and top, I get so annoyed with that stuff. I just keep
Uh,
everything simple. When everybody get here, everything is prepared. No bags, no plastic bags, no tops, no foil. Everybody can just come in and wait a minute. Oh, I was gonna let me show you something. Let me
okay.
show you
All right.
something.
Show me.
I'm gonna show you something. Look, hey, I ordered this off Amazon.
Let me see.
So when people come in, everybody lining up to go to the bathroom to wash their hands. Look, when it's not working, wait a minute.
No.
Oh, there.
Okay. Oh, you fancy. You fancy. You
$12.
fancy.
$12.
$12.
Everybody come in, wash their hands. I got two of them. Boom. Wash your hands. Make your plate. Boom. I make everything. I think of everything, all of the details
I
or whatever.
see. I
Yeah.
see you. I see you,
Yeah.
Ricky. I see
Come
you.
on. Oh, I get down. I love to cook.
Now
A
let me
lot
check
of.
my phone real quick because I don't think I got an invite to dinner. Let me
Oh
check.
yeah, you know you always welcome now.
Let me
You
check.
always welcome.
I'm
Oh
gonna catch
yeah,
it. I'm gonna catch you next year or for
yeah.
Easter. I'm gonna catch you next year for
Your
Easter.
boy get down now. Come on, come for
I
Thanksgiving. That's when I really get
oh,
down.
Thanksgiving.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
I
Oh
pull up for Thanksgiving with my elastic waistband pants on.
yeah,
Because
because you
I
gonna
got to
need
do what I
it.
got to do.
You gonna need it.
So let's talk about you being an author. Like that is one of the things my great grandmother always told me I needed to write a book about my life. And I was like, okay. And now she's gone on to glory. And that is the one thing that she has said to me that continually nags at me. So you wrote a book, and I want to get the title right. Sideshow, Living with Loss and Moving Forward with Faith. This
Yeah.
is a book that you wrote after the passing of Brandon.
Right.
And one thing that I just want to say to you first, I extend my condolences.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Secondly, as a parent, I really appreciated how, even while going through a tragedy, you made yourself available to other parents and shared your story to
Sure.
help other parents who were going through that heal. Because, a lot of times when we go through things, we just want to ball up in the bed. We want to seclude ourselves and just try to manage it the best way possible. And
Mhm.
you used your test as almost a testimony, if that's
Sure.
the best way I can say it.
Sure.
Just talk to me about that.
Well, much is given, much is required, and I know personally that we serve an awesome God, and it's all about the perspective that you put things. What window are you going to look out? Uh, you have to think about other people, being a public figure, being a radio personality, your fans, your friends, people are concerned about you, and you have to let everybody know that I'm okay or whatever. And you have to find ways to be okay. It's a promotion of therapy. I talk about therapy a lot in the book. And then one of the things that keep me going is realizing that a lot of people situation is way worse than mine. I had a lady 2 weeks after my son died, she lost both of her sons. and did not have resources to have their funeral. And I had to, even though I was going through what I was going through, but I had to help with that. I had to do something. I couldn't just let that sit. I was able to help or whatever, because I just can't. I had two sons. I have, had two sons. I couldn't imagine if I would have lost both of my sons. She lost both of her sons at the same time. They was murdered. And a lot of people whose children get killed, they got to go to court and face the murder of their children.
Yes.
And so man, you got to get up for the people. You got to think about other people. You got to put yourself aside and lay down and lay it on the line for people that's out there suffering and they don't have the resources. God has been good to me. I can say, okay, I don't want to be in the house. I'm gonna go to Florida for the weekend and just jump on a plane and go. And I just thank God to be able to do that. But some people are stuck with no resources, walls closing in their house, in their community, child dead, don't have access to therapy, don't have access, about to lose their job, or got to go to work that next Monday and deal with the public, people standing in line with bad attitudes and taking them through this and that, and not realizing that they buried their son or daughter a week ago. And I tell you, man, it was just that was a rough time. And but everything always go back to your faith and your Christian values. You start thinking about Kurt Carper. Every mountain he brought me over, for every trial he see me through, for every blessing. Hallelujah. For this I give you praise. You start thinking about Jonathan McReynolds. May your bad days prove that God is good. And you start going way back to Carlton Pearson. I know the Lord will make a way. Yes, He will. And and you go on into Paul Jones. I won't complain, even if you don't know scripture. You got songs, and you can go to Invictus and read your poems that you had to learn and stuff when you was pledging. And God has given me so many tools and resources to get through those times of trials and tribulation. And I tell you, that was a real rough time for me, because I had to not only, it was a loss for me, I had to make sure my other kids was okay. I had to make sure my mom was okay. I had to make sure my son's mom and Bonus dad was okay. Dealing with details or whatever, I had to make sure that everybody was okay. And it really didn't hit me until like a year later. 1 year later, when that time came, that I just remember the suffering and the grief. The only difference was you don't have family around and you don't have no casket and no flowers. So you just buck naked and you just raw and you just sitting here feeling it, like feeling it, and it's like you feel helpless. But we serve an awesome God. And like Tip always say, if He bring you to it, He'll bring you through it. And I will forever be grateful to God for having my son. My son was 32. I met somebody in New Orleans who lost their 2-year-old son due to drowning. Now I have every right to grieve about my son, but these people didn't get to see their kid get on the school bus. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And so, at some point you got to suck it up and keep going and think about other people and put it out there, because my son could have died at 2. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's always a beam of light through all darkness. You find ways to bless God and praise God for everything that He's done and what He's doing for you in your life. And then He'll turn around. And then remember, all of this stuff is a test. All of it. It don't feel like a test when you're going through. You're like, why is all of this stuff happening to me? It's a test. God is watching all of us. Our pastors have been telling us since elementary school that all of this is a test. God is looking at you to see how you're going to deal with this situation. Are you going to make this about you? Are you going to try to find a way to give God the glory or whatever and bring other people closer to God because of your test or whatever? And God will turn around and reward you and give you blessings that you don't even have room to receive. So I just, it is what it is. It's tough, but I just thank God. I'm glad that we serve a living and awesome God.
I do as well. And one of the things about you, Ricky, that makes people resonate and connect with you so much is the fact that you have always had a level of transparency with your audience, with your fans. So even like, I watched you in Daddy Mode on the Ricky Smiley show. You listen
Mhm.
to you every morning and you address, things that are going on personally.
Sure.
And then you talk about, what's in media and in the news.
Mhm.
How do you find that line of where on a personal level, like I'll share this, but I'll just keep this to myself as a
Yeah,
public figure?
it just feels like some things you're like, I might not want to share that. I can share this.
Yeah.
I try to be more hopeful, optimistic, inspirational. And then every now and then, I have to put something out, setting some boundaries with people, talk about some experiences that I have, trying to, in a very kind way, train people how to
Mhm. Deal with you.
be when they come into my space, because I have a lot of run-ins with people because decorum is out the window. There's no more exchange of pleasantries. People will walk up in your space, grab on you, pull on you, touch on you, do inappropriate things. I got into it Sunday. We were at a restaurant, standing in line getting
Oh
food.
my gosh.
Somebody was inappropriate with my grandson
Oh.
and walked over to my grandson with somebody on the phone and put the phone up to my grandson's ear, and as if none of the adults that was with him was standing there, and then pulled the auntie thing on me. The auntie thing turned into auntie. I'm gonna get you told. Well, I ain't doing nothing, ma'am. You can't talk to nobody, kids. Like, yeah, that's a real. It's a lot of people that do a lot of weird stuff. People, a lady at church this past Sunday walked over and put her arms around me and tried to pull me into her cell phone for a selfie at church.
Oh.
Oh yeah, now see, the problem with having good home training, like we probably have, we
Mhm.
run into people
Who
that
tested?
decide not to use their home training, because 99% of Black folks got good home training.
Mhm.
I'm quite sure. And we do this stuff, and I'm one of those type of people that I don't, because if you take a picture with her, you got to take a picture with everybody. So I don't
Yes.
allow myself to get put in a picture taking predicament
Mhm.
while I'm trying to worship. Well, some would say, well, you're a celeb. It's a time and a place for everything.
In
And
this house, God the celebrity.
yep, it's just no.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
not going to explain it. Absolutely not. Or whatever. And
Yeah.
so stuff like that you have to talk about on social media. So when people see you, hey, I've been watching your videos. It's a pleasure to meet you. My name is, welcome to Detroit. We are so happy to have you. If you need anything, well, that's what I'd be talking about, the exchange of pleasure,
Mhm.
people walk up and say, can I get? Not hi, how are you? Offer my condolences to you and your family,
Right. Right.
or whatever. If I meet you, I don't care if Michael Jackson came back from the grave and got off the plane. This is how you doing, Mr.
Mhm.
Jackson? It's a pleasure to meet you. Welcome to Birmingham. I'm Ricky Smiley. If there's anything that you need while you're here, here's my card, my information, and I hope that you have a nice time in the city. The Civil Rights Museum is over here. If you need a good church, this is a good church. Or if you want some barbecue, you can go right on up. Like,
Mhm.
that's you know what I'm saying? The way I was raised, and anybody that do anything outside of that, for whatever excuse people want to use, it just rubbed me the wrong way, because I just don't like people coming into my space hustling something.
So let me tell you, this conversation that I'm having with you, because this is like the perfect segue. This conversation that I'm having with you has been healing for me.
Sure.
And it's the perfect time to, I feel like it's the perfect time to discuss it with you, because we are talking about exchanging pleasantries.
Mhm.
So many years ago, remember when Ice Cube and Kevin Hart did the Ride Along movie? Years ago.
Mhm.
Okay, way long ago. There was a private screening in Atlanta, at Regal Atlantic Station. I was new in media. I had just launched Ice Cream Conversations, and I was just so excited to be a member of media. I wanted to introduce myself to everyone, try to build, relationships and so on and so forth. But I am a little awkward in, introducing myself.
Right.
So you were there. And I was standing there and I looked over and I said, oh my gosh, there's Ricky Smiley. And I was like, I love him so much. I'm going to go introduce myself to Ricky Smiley. So you were chilling. You were by yourself. You were like posted up. It was that back room, the back room at Regal where they do the real special stuff. You were back there. So you were posted up. You kind of just had your arms crossed. You was just chilling. It was a private event. So, it wasn't stragglers, and you were just chilling, kind of taking in the room or whatever. Yeah. So I went walking up with my stomach in knots, and I was like, hi, Ricky, my name is Xaviera. I'm a blogger. I have Ice Cream Conversations. And you looked to the side and you said, huh? Like Lil Daryl, huh? Oh. You said, huh? And you was like, oh, yeah, man. All right. And you just walked away and walked over to this other person. And I was just standing there.
Oh, God.
And Ricky, when I tell you,
I'm sorry.
It about broke my heart. And I was just like,
was somebody pulling me out? Was like, come on.
So when you went over, I looked over. And when I looked, I was like, where did he go? Because mind you, I'm standing facing a wall because you were leaned up against a wall.
Right.
You walked over to this guy. And when I looked over to see where you went, both of y'all looked back at me and y'all started laughing. And I was like, he didn't want to. Yes. Ricky, when I tell you that thing ate me up so bad because I was like, they're laughing at me. And I was like, he didn't want to talk to me. And now they're laughing at me.
No.
And Ricky, I carried that thing with me for so long and it just hurt my feelings so bad. I was like,
yeah, I'm sorry that happened. And I'm sure we wasn't talking about you because I would have had a reason to talk about you, especially if you walked up and introduced yourself. Because one thing I do, now I take responsibility for that. If I got away from you and I didn't get back to you, I probably had the intention on doubling back to come over and talk to you. But sometimes they be moving me around. Sometimes I'd be either with a publicist or somebody from the morning show, one of the morning show producers, like Ricky, come over here. Or sometimes they might think that I'm in a situation and they become the buffer. Hey, Ricky, come over here. Because a lot of times I get locked into something. It could be somebody from the local chapter of the NAACP, and they'll get you and they'll lock you in and trying to get you to agree to something. And sometimes they be trying to get me out of stuff, or whatever. But if I did that and you felt that way, I apologize. Oh my God, I owe you dinner or something. I owe you big time. But no, that was not intentional. I'm sure that because we have no reason. The only way I would have looked back and laughed at you if you would have had on black stockings and white shoes.
No, I didn't.
You didn't have no.
I did not, sir. I know my I know better than that.
You have on black stockings
better than that.
And the shoes from the Monica video.
Yes, the before you walk out of my life. 13s. Yeah, no, I ain't had no more, Ricky.
But yeah, I apologize for that.
Thank you, Ricky.
I should have doubled back to make sure I finished that conversation. And no, I'm making no excuses. I'm not trying to justify anything. But sometimes you get in those rooms and you get locked down in a corner and you will get locked into something that you don't want to get locked into. And sometimes people could just kind of say, he over there, let's get him, let's pull him over here. Because sometimes they have to pretend that they need you over here or whatever. It happens all the time. It happens at red carpet event because you got your media and people trying to move you along or whatever. But don't take it personal. It wasn't personal because if that was the case, I wouldn't be here. I do interviews and stuff all the time. But sometimes in a crowded room, you don't know what the hell you finna get. Sometimes they be trying to protect you from bloggers because some bloggers are negative.
Ooh, listen, and that's one of the reasons why I don't like to call myself a blogger. I've actually stopped calling myself a blogger.
A reporter.
And I call or entertainment writer.
Yes.
For the very reason that it has such a nasty connotation because of the way many of us have behaved in this space. And I always say that When I walk in a room, people don't have to hush, or people don't say, here she come. Here she come,
Right.
here she come. And I take pride in that and having
Yeah.
integrity and the way I handle everything that I do. So I'm really proud of that. But
Hmm.
just to speak to your apology, I feel like God always has the bigger plan, right? So
Sure.
today I got to have the conversation with you that I wanted to have all that time ago. And now I really get to sit down and talk to you and really get to know
No.
you
And
and the
and I
person
and
that
I
you are.
appreciate you. I appreciate you bringing it up because I have to be accountable for my mistakes as well because I'm not bigger than like I'm a human being and I care about what people like yourself. If I put you in that situation, I care about that. And
Yeah.
I have to make good, and make the correction. And I really appreciate you bringing it up. So now I'm definitely gonna have to make sure that whatever I have, that we get a do-over, because I got to make that right. So when I have my premiere in Atlanta, I'm gonna have someone to come, Uber Black, the SUV to come pick you up and probably let you. I think you should co-host the event with me that night.
Oh, I would love that.
Yes, yeah.
I
So
would
when I
love
do
that.
my premiere, I'm gonna let you co-host and what is it? Narrate.
Like the talk back, the
Yes,
moderate.
moderate.
Mhm.
I'm gonna allow if you would. I'm not going to say
I would absolutely, it would be my
I'm gonna
pleasure.
allow you. If you
That's
would,
when I'll
if
say,
you would
Ricky,
give
get
me
your
the
goddamn ass over there.
yes,
Ricky, get your goddamn.
I'm going. We're gonna go ahead and book you right now, and
Okay.
I'm gonna make sure that you are introduced properly in a room full of in a crowded room with all the big ballers and shot callers in there. I'm gonna make sure that you are taken care of, VIP, and make sure that you are put in the best light that you can be put in because I have to make this up to you.
I sincerely appreciate that, Ricky. I
Yes,
do. I do. See, this conversation definitely was a divine conversation, and it has been my absolute pleasure
yes,
to speak
ma'am.
to you. And anytime that you need well, you don't need a platform. You have one that's the biggest one in the country. So let me run that back. Anytime you would like to talk to somebody else,
Yeah.
you are more than welcome to come and chat with me. I would love
No.
to have you.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity and taking the time, to allow me to come on your platform. I'm definitely going to shout you out on my radio show for sure. Uh, and I need to make sure that you should definitely have a conversation with Gary.
Okay.
Whatever. Maybe
Oh, I
Gary,
love Gary with the T.
yeah, Gary will bring you on the morning show, and then you can probably be a part of his segment.
Oh, I
Especially
would
like
love
you got some
that.
inside information, and he reported, and then I get him to start quoting some of your stuff or whatever. But I just appreciate real journalism,
Thank you.
because a lot of this stuff, people do anything and say anything for clicks or
Yes.
whatever. Um, and a lot of it be lies, but you can't sue. You can't sue. You can't. You'll
Yeah.
be filing lawsuits all day.
All day long,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
day long. And it's funny because over the years, um, I've had my outlet for 15 years now. And
sure.
over the years, I see each year how it's becoming more and more difficult for me because the mess is what they want. So, I'll give them some positive. I could tell you a young Black man got accepted into uh, every university he applied to and received $1 million in scholarship money. And it'll
No
be like
click.
3 clicks. 3 clicks. I could tell you somebody got arrested. Oh. But
But
the worst,
if that same dude got Mama D pregnant,
ooh, not Mama D in the palace,
she deserved to be loved.
running amok in her palace.
Come on now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I appreciate people like yourself and People's Magazine, Tamron Hall, which did
Mhm.
a great episode about my twin
She
daughters.
did.
You
Yeah.
know that
Yeah.
I that's a blessing to me and a blessing
Absolutely.
to my family. But it was a mess to some because they made it a mess. But I wasn't a part of the mess because I
Mhm.
just didn't engage in it or whatever. I know what happened, and
Yeah.
everybody's not owed every single detail to every. Yeah, the math is not going to math if you don't have the full formula.
Right. And then in situations like that, you always get the people who want to piggyback on the moment and grab a little bit of spotlight off of the moment. So,
Sure.
I'm always very leery of everyone who starts coming out of the woodwork with their portion of it and that portion of it, because it's like,
Mhm.
okay, there's a spotlight over there and everybody's going to run and try to get under it.
Sure.
But I loved the way that you handled that, because you presented it as, look, this is the blessing that came out of it. This is the blessing that came out of this, and people will just find just
Yeah.
some
It's like you in church and you giving a testimony and say, God bless me with a 2025 Ford Expedition. 90% of the church gonna break out and start shouting. Right?
Mhm,
10%. The math ain't mathing.
mhm.
Well, how did you get okay, you must sell drugs or you must cheated on your taxes or something. I know that got to fix the math. The math got the math. It ain't making sense to you. You don't see that as a blessing. Man, do you know, and I'm gonna have to ask God myself
Okay.
as to why you did this the way you did it. And why did I deserve to be blessed like that?
Mhm.
And one day I was laying in bed, I started thinking about all of the things. First of all, I never had biological daughters. The two daughters that I have, I got them when they were 2 years old, right?
Mhm.
I only had two sons. That's all I knew about. Then I think about the girls' school in Kenya, okay,
Yes.
that been sponsoring for over 7 or 8 years, saving these girls from rape, saving them
Mhm.
from arranged marriages, doing all that kind of stuff. Then the Wednesday, my son died on a Sunday. I decided Tuesday to get back on the radio because the people need to be served. People out there going through worse stuff. Get your butt out of bed and go get on the radio. Wednesday, I said, you know what? I got to go to the funeral home at 2 o'clock to take my son's clothes and make sure the clothes match the casket. But at 12 o'clock, I'm gonna go to the Salvation Army and I'm gonna stand in line and serve the homeless. And I'm gonna try to get through this without crying
Okay. Okay.
because God allowed me to stand in line. And when I started looking at the faces of the people that just came to get a hot dog, some chips, some sauerkraut, a slice of cake, and a cup of punch,
Right.
going through the same thing. And all the homeless people, you know what they were saying? Hey, Rick, sorry about your son, man. I'm praying for you. Hey, Rick, I lost my son too. And he's homeless. See,
Mm.
God, like, I did all this stuff. I've been doing all this stuff for years and making sure kids got haircuts and backpacks and back to school and giving and giving and giving and just trying to be a servant. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Then when all of this happened, still trying to find a way to serve and to continue praise, God was like, you know what? I got something for you. And how it happened, the way that it happened, and when it happened. And I found out about them the 1 year anniversary of Brandon's death, when I actually felt it.
Yes.
Remember when I told you that
Yes.
1 year later is when I felt that I didn't have no casket, no family, no flowers. I was
Mhm.
sitting in Miami in an apartment by myself, grieving, feeling all of it, feeling every inch of it. And I got a phone call. And when I got that phone call, I looked up at the sky and the sun started to turn back into its original color.
Wow.
Now, I don't care about what people say or they think of,
Mhm.
or, child, he knew. I care about that
Yes.
because those people don't have a heaven or hell to put me in.
Absolutely.
I serve a God that turned night into day and day into night. And God always know I do right by my kids. I raise kids that's not mine. Ain't no way on this earth I would have identical twin daughters and walk away from them. Mind you,
Mhm.
I'm friends with my ex. Those My twins been coming over here going to my grandkids' birthday party. I've been knowing them their whole life. We didn't know. We didn't
But you,
know.
but that kind of feels like the divine hand of God, because
Sure.
if you think about it, he still allowed you to be in their lives. So you can't even have the, oh, I missed out on this, I missed it, because they were always there. And then at the moment the Lord knew that you needed to know.
Yep. And then the crazy thing about it, I was mentoring their oldest sister who's 17 years old, who's a junior in high school, because her dad was killed on a motorcycle. Now, why would I be in the life and taking the oldest child on vacations with me and my kids and doing all this stuff and sit here and ignore two kids that are actually mine? And I'm a cool dude. Like, I ain't no toxic dude. I'm cool with my exes or whatever. You ought to see how my son's mother and I work together, and we in grandparent mode. We sharing, the co-parenting that go on, the co-parenting that exists, the text messages between, me and, my kid's mom or whatever. The co-parenting is top tier, because everything starts with doing what's in the best interest
Of the child.
It's that simple. It ain't about either one of us. It's about doing what's making great decisions for the child or whatever. And it get tough sometimes, it get tense sometimes, but at the end of the day or whatever, we have to do what's in the best interest of the child. So man, God is just awesome. And I give God credit for that. And God did that. And when I tell you, I feel like that's what's keeping me alive, because it's some depressing days and some depressing nights. When you sit here, when you can't get that thought of that casket being lowered into the ground,
Yep.
or whatever, and that kind of trauma, man, that my son's death affected me so bad, I have memory loss. And I didn't even know that grief causes memory loss. When I tell you, I can't sometimes, if you ask me something on the spot and I have to try to remember,
Right.
I just black out or whatever, and get in trouble for it. Got in trouble for it a few times on one nationally, because I just couldn't. My brain wasn't operating like it used to, because the trauma is so bad.
Right.
Like that's a lot of trauma.
And I
So
think people don't understand that trauma has a physical effect on us.
sure.
I think some people really don't understand that. They think you go through a process and then after a while it gets a little bit better. But no, there are people who literally, couples, one pass, the other one like, okay, I'm going right with you. It's a physical toll on the body as well.
Yeah, I have to take the vitamins to help my brain remember stuff, and my dumb ass can't remember to take the
Like
vitamins.
the vitamins.
You
Yes.
know,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying?
Like
What is it called? Ginkgo something?
the ginkgo biloba. I call it
Yes.
the ginkgo biloba.
Man, when I tell you, I be in here just trying to get my mind back on track, and people be talking about, do you remember me, and all of that stuff, and be in their feelings when I don't. They have no idea. They don't understand. I just lost my uncle a month ago. My uncle Bruce died, who I grew up with. We was raised together, like brothers or whatever. And he went quick, and I don't even know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
I haven't cried. I can't cry. I don't know how I feel about it. I just the next day came and I had to get my kids dressed for school and cook dinner. And I've been moving along, and it hadn't even hit me yet. Like, I'm dealing with that, and it's just it's a lot of stuff. But God is still in the blessing business, and I thank Him. And so, at least for May 30th, when it comes, that will be a great opportunity to heal a lot of people that's hurting, and where people can sit in a room and laugh as I go through this 1 hour of nonstop laughter. So, but I just had to share all that other stuff.
No, I appreciate you sharing it, because one of the things that anytime I have a conversation with someone, they're like interviews, and I'm like, okay, I got to ask questions, interviews. But the thing that my goal in every conversation is to have someone walk away with a better understanding of who you are, learn something about you that they did not know, and really see you for who you truly are. And I appreciate you, because that's one of the things that I've always loved about you, is that you show you are human. You get some people like, yeah, dog, I did it. No, we are all human beings out here trying to make it every day. I start my day on my knees praying, praying, and
Come
I
on.
end my day on my knees praying. It
Yes.
took a minute to hit you, didn't it? Yeah. But
Oh,
yeah.
I knew you was
And-
praying. I knew what you
yeah,
were
yeah,
doing.
okay. Thank you. I appreciate you, Ricky. Appreciate you. And I end my day praying. I appreciate you.
Right.
But we are all humans out here just trying to make it, and yes, some of us are more well known, like yourself, and you have been a public servant to us for over 20 years, whether it's comedy, being on the radio. And so
35.
35. That's right, 35. And
35.
I think sometimes when we live in a celebrity driven culture, and a lot of times we forget to give celebrities grace. And sometimes people forget that you are human. They almost look at you, because you're a celebrity, as some type of superhuman being. And I just appreciate the fact that you always remind us that you are human.
Right.
And as humans, we make good decisions, bad decisions. Life happens, good things happens, bad things happen. So I just appreciate you and all of your Rickiness. I
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Well, I just want to tell everybody that's watching, no matter what you've been through, just make sure you know that God is always in control, and God ain't gonna put more on you than you can bear. I want everybody to be encouraged. I hope y'all got some encouragement and some joy. And no matter how bad life gets, just always continue to serve or whatever. And while you over here serving, and you over here doing good with somebody, God over here working out your problem, your situation, or whatever, but you got to leave it alone and let him do it. But you just continue to serve and do good. And make sure y'all check me out May the 30th. And if anybody going through grief, order my book. It's called Sideshow. And it's going to help you with your grief. It's going to make you cry. It's going to make you laugh. It's going to make you think. And it will help you with the healing process. So I really appreciate this opportunity.
I appreciate it just as much, Ricky. It has been a total pleasure. I can't wait until May 30th, and I will make sure to remind everyone to tune in and to give everyone the link to purchase Sideshow.
No, thank you. Thank you. But okay, so when I have my premiere, we're gonna be working together. So
absolutely.
Yeah, we
locked in.
Thank you for the do-over. Thank you for giving me another chance.
Absolutely. We have to give each other grace, right?
Yes,
we have to. Have a great day, Ricky. You have truly made my day.
Yes, all right. You made my day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.